Welcome back. A female newscaster working for state TV in Egypt has presented the news wearing the veil for the first time since the public broadcaster was founded in the 60s. Although women working for private channels are allowed to cover their hairs, there was an unwritten rule that barred women from wearing the veil. Let's look at this report for more on what many are calling a step towards greater individual freedom in Egypt.
Wearing makeup, a smart black jacket and a beige hijab covering her hair, Egypt's first veiled news anchor on a public television channel presented the evening news. Viewers were not exactly shocked. They are used to seeing veiled journalists on private channels. In the streets of Cairo, many men even hailed the development, seeing it as a step forward in guaranteeing individual freedoms.
This is personal freedom, and there should be no problem with a woman wearing a headscarf on a television program. What's the problem? I don't see it facing any obstacle from a political or religious point of view.
Despite this casual response, it marks a turning point, a big change from the Mubarak era when public television channels were strictly secular. No veils on the air was the rule, even though many Egyptian women wear the headscarf that covers the hair but not the face. However, the Muslim Brotherhood, which came to power several months ago, is making changes. I don't want to connect these two things, to be honest. I don't want to connect the rule of Morsi with this, because I myself see this as an issue of personal freedom. Some Egyptians welcome the reversal of the restriction on veiled women. Others see it as a growing Islamist influence. In any case, Fatma Nabil is the talk of the town in Cairo. Liberals are worried that religious codes will be imposed more and more, and that television journalists like Fatma Nabil will be the rule, not the exception.
162 miners arrested and charged with the murder of their striking colleagues at the Marikana mine have been released. Although the charges against the men have not been dropped, 100 more are expected to be released on Thursday. We have more on that dramatic U-turn in this report.
They are complaining about the bad treatment they suffered in prison, but they don't hide their relief either. 162 striking miners arrested during a shootout at Marikana mine have been released.
I'm very happy. Now I want to see my wife and my child.
100 more miners who are still behind bars are expected to be released on Thursday. The courts have lifted the strange apartheid-era charges that were brought against them. Charges which led to an outcry since none of the police officers who actually did the shooting were arrested. What hurts me most is that I was arrested for nothing. Police were sent to shoot us and kill us while we were fighting for our rights. Although the charges against the miners were dropped, the struggle continues. The movement is backed by the former leader of the ANC's Youth League, who is calling on the strikers not to surrender. Excluded from the ruling ANC, Julius Malema is being accused of taking the miners' strike hostage to settle accounts with the ANC.
The reason why the white owners of these mines are not listening to us as workers and poor people is because leaders of the ANC are in the mines.
3 weeks after 34 miners were shot to death, the government is still trying to de-dramatize the situation.
Their responsibility would be to change.
The tragic incident at Marikana is not a reflection of the business environment in South Africa. We would like to reassure all stakeholders and the international community that the mining operations continue unhindered in other parts of the Northwest Province and throughout the country.
Remarks which hide the government's serious concerns about the mining industry that provides jobs for 1 million people in South Africa and represents 20% of the country's GDP.
Tensions between Israel and Iran are already running high, and now there is a new threat. The leader of the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah warns that if Israel attacks Iran's nuclear facilities, Tehran will retaliate by striking all American bases in the region. Hassan Nasrallah also told a Lebanese TV station he does not expect Israel to target Iran in the coming month, but said if that happens, the US would pay the price in the Middle East. Let's look at this report for more on that.
It's the most controversial topic in Israel these days, the possibility of an Israeli airstrike on Iran's nuclear facility. As Prime Minister Netanyahu sharpened his rhetoric once again, saying Israel feels abandoned by the international community in stopping Iran from building a nuclear bomb.
I believe that the truth must be said. The international community is not drawing a clear red line for Iran, and Iran does not see the international determination to stop its nuclear program.
Netanyahu's words seem a direct criticism of the Obama administration's policies. Israeli media is even speaking of a disconnect between the U.S. and Israel on the nuclear issue. Where the Netanyahu government wants more forceful action, Washington says sanctions should be given more time to work. In a recent TV interview with Israel's Channel 2, the U.S. ambassador to Israel played down the tensions.
There is definitely a narrative in the media right now, I'd say an overheated one, about tension between the United States and Israel over the issue of Iran. I understand why people like to write those stories, and there's a new version of it every day. But the truth is they don't reflect the very close coordination and very intense work we've done together to address an issue that we perceive the same way, which is the importance of preventing Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons.
The Netanyahu government is facing criticism at home. Many prominent Israelis warning the prime minister not to attack Iran if the U.S. is not on board. At the same time, preparations continue in Israel. A recent civil defense exercise simulated dealing with the aftermath of a missile strike in Jerusalem. The soldier in charge says Israel is more prepared than ever for possible reprisal attacks.
The level of readiness of the forces, the amount of training that we do, the type of training that we do, the length of the specific exercise that we do, what we challenge our soldiers and our officers within these exercises. Everything is a completely different level.
Training Israelis hope they will never need. But every week seems to bring more heated rhetoric and stronger warnings from the Israeli government, leaving observers guessing how much longer Israel will stand by before taking matters into its own hands. Fred Plykin, CNN.
We'll now take our second break.
This year, Africell is offering you the chance to travel to Mecca to perform the fifth pillar of Islam, Al-Hajj. 12 free Hajj packages to Mecca are there for you to win, including travel allowance and accommodation. To participate in the weekly Friday draw on GRTS TV and get the chance to win, simply type your Africell number and send it by SMS to 1010 or call 1010 from your Africell line. And for every SMS or call you make to 1010, you will get 2 Africell minutes for free. But that's not all. This Hajj season, you can give the chance to any other Africell subscriber to win a free Hajj package to Mecca. Type the Africell number of the person you want to be part of the Hajj draw and send it by SMS to 1010. May all your prayers be answered.
School children have contributed over $30,000 towards the Road to Azerbaijan campaign. The money was presented to the Minister of Youth and Sports by the Basic and Secondary Education Minister. Fatou Jasseh reports.
With the female under-17 World Cup starting in just under 3 weeks, support for the baby scorpions is pouring in from both the private and public sector, as well as individuals to better prepare the country's female team ahead of the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Azerbaijan. The latest to show solidarity with the female team is the country's school children, whom through the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education presented a sum of $30,532 as their contribution towards the preparations of the team. The contribution, which the minister describes as a small token, will assist the team in their preparations for the global event.
The significance of this contribution is the fact that it's coming from the children of these schools in the country. And I think it should be an inspiration for everyone in this country to undertake to support the female team. In this country, census has it that We are 1.7.